Greetings and peace. I would like to start with Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Peace be with you and yours. And Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful. Today's presentation I would like to do on the Sufi teachings of Hazrat Inayat-Khan, Volume 2nd, The Mysticism of Sound, Music, and the Power of the Word, Cosmic Language. And most people who don't know Hazrat Inayat-Khan, I'll do like a small bio before getting into the book. He was born in 1882 and departed this world in 1927. He comes from a background of music, mysticism. He's a spiritual teacher, plays a big role in introducing Sufi teachings to the West. Born originally in India, where his background through his family was also through music and mysticism. And he always had that talent in his early years where he played a string instrument. His teacher, Hazrat Abu Hashim Madani, who initiates him into the Chishti Tariqa, and I myself am connected to that in Pakistan. And he instructed him to introduce and harmonize these teachings from the East into the West through his music and other sohbas and teachings that he did. Once he left India, he went to the US, Europe, and went to France, where he had settled, where he was fulfilling his purpose of spreading these teachings to the Western audience. He did find the Sufi Order International, which is what we know as the Inayati Sufi Order, and how these universal ideals and centers are teaching this same truth to everyone. And that's exactly what the master did. Hazrat Inayat Khan has played a central role for those that don't know. And he passed away in 1927 in New Delhi, and now his son and grandson carried on his teachings. His son, Pir Vilayat Inayat-Khan, and of course his grandson, who is the head now, Pir Zia Inayat-Khan, have carried his teachings forward. And he is a visionary. May he rest in peace, and I dedicate this teaching to those that don't know, to all of the Sufi friends that I have in Pakistan, here in America. I hope you all benefit from the teachings of this great master. I will refer to Hazrat Inayat Khan as just Hazrat for short whenever I mention him. So just diving into this book, and what I learned from it right away is that Hazrat discusses the power of the word and the importance of sound and music and spirituality. And he explores and teaches us how vibrations create different planes of existence and how vibrations affect our moods and emotions. And he delves into the different aspects of sound and its healing effects. It's like even in the Western world, where if you're listening to the wrong type of music, it does have an effect on you, as it's done with the black community through the rap music and other things that are out there. So if you're listening to the correct uplifting music, then it will make a difference for you. It does energize you and change your mood. And this book discusses the different sounds and vibrations associated with fire, air, ether, earth, and water. And it explores the concept of vibrations and their effects on the physical, mental, and spiritual planes. This book mentions how vibrations can communicate between beings and affect emotions. And it shows how there are different grades of these vibrations and their impact. Now, in Islam, they tell us that music is forbidden, but if you look at it from the concept of nasheeds or other stuff which is uplifting and spiritual, that's what is allowed. It's things that uplift you and raise your vibrations, as Hazrat is describing. So, intense activity destroys everything and causes weakness and blindness. The activity of things and beings is recognized by the seer. If vibratory activity is controlled, one can experience joy without being enslaved by it. Saints and sages spread peace through their vibrations, just through their presence. Thoughts and feelings create necessary means for their manifestation. Thought power requires confidence and patience. Harmony is the source of manifestation and the utmost goal of man. There are three aspects of harmony: eternal, universal, and individual. Storms, floods, volcanic eruptions, wars, and revolutions are actually part of the universal harmony. A story from India explains how people interfered with the work of the gods, resulting in a disastrous outcome. Individual harmony involves the balance between the body and the soul, as well as the harmony between individuals. The soul finds true comfort in love, harmony, beauty, wisdom, calm, and peace. The ego causes disharmony between self and others, leading to judgment and misunderstandings. The development of the ego determines the level of harmony achieved. Different classes of beings, angelic, human, animal, devilish, harmonize differently. The harmony of life can be learned through training the ear to distinguish true and false tones in words. This book discusses the importance of expression, rhythm, and harmony in speech and actions. It emphasizes the need to speak in a manner that is appropriate for the situation and to consider others' understanding and language. The Sufi tradition trains individuals to be conscious of their words, tone, and rhythm in order to maintain harmony in their speech and interactions. And you also have to understand that ignorance signifies powerlessness in a man, as knowledge gives him superiority over all creatures. The Quran explains how God gave Adam the knowledge of all things and asked the angels to declare their names, which Adam was able to do so. Names reveal past, present, and future, and each letter in a name has a numerical significance. The rhythm, number of letters, and vowels in a name all have an influence on a person's character and fate. Names can have a psychic effect and can be used as magical charms. Ancient scripts and alphabets had symbolic significance. The influence of a name is greater when it is used more often. Changing a name can bring about a change in a person's life. The three aspects of the one light are intelligence, abstract light, and the sun, which form the basis of the Trinity and the Trimurti doctrines. So even in Hindu philosophy, there's a Trinity aspect of the creator, destroyer, and things like that. So the book discusses Hindu philosophy and the relationship between the seen and unseen aspects of life. It explores the concept of form and how it is manifested through vibrations and elements. It also touches on the influence of time and space on forms and features. And Hazrat emphasizes the interconnectedness of all things and the constant change that occurs. The human face is of great importance as it reveals a person's nature, condition of life, and past, present, and future. According to the Prophet, peace be upon him, Allah has said that the face will not be burned in the fire of hell. The similarities between humans and animals can give insight into their nature. 4 sources contribute to the human face and form: the inherent attributes of the soul, the influence of heritage, the impressions of surroundings, and the impression of oneself. The form of man depends on these sources and signifies his evolution, nature, race, and fate. Motion is the significance of life, and rhythm is the law of motion. Rhythm is present in all aspects of life and is the sign of life. Different cultures have their own unique rhythms in dance and music. The importance of rhythm in Indian culture is highlighted by Hazrat in this teaching, with specific rhythms associated with different groups of people. The Hindu traditions include mystical legends about dancing, such as the story of Krishna dancing with the gopis. In Islam, music, dancing, and amusements are usually prohibited, but there are exceptions where the Prophet allowed music and dance on a holiday. And of course, we have the nasheeds as well. Now, rhythm is a fundamental aspect of life and nature. It is found in the sacred dance of the Sufis and is prevalent in the joy expressed by animals. Rhythm is important for the body and mind and plays a role in healing. It is also present in the universe and affects all aspects of life. Rhythm is essential for music and is found in the harmony of nature. Animals communicate through music-like sounds. In the beginning of human creation, language did not exist, only music. Man expressed his thoughts and feelings through different tones and pitches. As language developed, it was transformed by music and could never be separated from it. Even ancient languages like Sanskrit, Arabic, and Hebrew require rhythmic and tonal expression. Language is a simplification of music, and no words can be spoken without tone, pitch, rhythm, accent, pause, and rest. The taste for music is innate in humans and is present from infancy. Different aspects of music appeal to different individuals based on their character and evolution. Indian music is based on the principles of raga and has a deep connection to nature. Ragas are derived from various sources and have their own administrations. The images of ragas are depicted by poets, similar to how different aspects of life are represented by images of gods and goddesses. Music is a powerful force that can influence emotions, atmosphere, and even physical and mental well-being. It has been used by ancient cultures to charm animals, create light, and express the deepest emotions. Composition in music requires sustaining the tone and understanding the different characters and purpose of each note. Vocal music is considered the highest form of art, as it comes directly from the soul, while instruments are dependent on man. Dance is also an innate form of expression that accompanies music and serves as a sacred art. The art of dancing has been misused and degraded, but when approached with beauty of movement and as a presentment of the divine ideal, it becomes sacred. And music and dance are just reflections of life, expressing melody, harmony, and the progress of creation. The book discusses the significance of music in Sufism and its role in spiritual development. It explains that music is considered the art of arts and the science of all sciences, containing within itself the fountain of all knowledge. The Sufis believe that music helps in their spiritual unfoldment by freeing the consciousness from the body and the mind. And of course, Hazrat also mentions the use of music in the Mevlevi Sufi order and the Chishtiya school of Sufis in India. And he emphasizes the importance of music in experiencing sacred ecstasy and achieving union with the divine. And also, he discusses abstract sound and its connection to revelation and the knowing of the whole universe. There are many colors that become eclipsed when mixed with brighter hues, just like the abstract sound becomes indistinct when compared to earthly sounds. The sound of the abstract, known as anahad or sarmad, brings relief from worries and frees the soul. The sound hu is the sacred sound that is the beginning and end of all sounds. It is the true name of God and is heard by animals and birds as well. The word hu signifies God and man, representing the idea of a God-conscious man. Various names and words in different languages express the origin and life of God. The letter A represents the first and the absolute nature of existence. The word Allah means the one who comes from nothing. The word Om, Omen, Amen, and Amin have the same origin and signify the beginning and end of life. Other words relate to God and guidance come from the same source. The more a Sufi listens to the sound of the abstract, the more they benefit. This book discusses the connection between music and spirituality, emphasizing its significance in Sufi teachings. It explains that music is considered the language of beauty and the divine art, surpassing other forms of expression. The book also mentions the intoxicating and transformative power of music, stating that it can provide a deeper sense of joy and exaltation than any other form of intoxication. Music is seen as the source of creation and the pathway to the divine. Music is seen as means of creation and absorption in the world, as well as a source of life and harmony. It has the power to please and charge people with emotion and is a way to express feelings and bring people together. Music is also associated with the beginning, continuity, and end of creation. The mystics throughout history have loved music and have used it as a tool for meditation and spiritual growth. The music of the universe is the foundation for human music, and our attraction to music is rooted in our connection to the rhythm and harmony of the world. Nature itself is filled with music, and being in tune with it brings a sense of exaltation. The cosmic system also operates according to the laws of music and harmony, and any disruption in that harmony can lead to disaster. Music is not just a form of entertainment, but a sacred art that holds deep meaning and significance. The greatest prophets in India found inspiration and expressed themselves through music. The key to understanding life and receiving revelations is intuition and inspiration. Every person and object reveals information about their character and nature through music, which can be heard with deep insight. Handwriting, actions, and even trees express harmony or disharmony. One's attitude and openness to the music of the universe determine whether they are friendly or not. Response and contemplation are essential for tuning oneself to the essence of all things. Friendship and a friendly attitude towards all lead to understanding and happiness. Breaking down walls of exclusivity and being friends with all allows for at one ment with the absolute and experiencing the music of the spheres. So become one with all people. Creation consists of duality, with the first aspect being light and the deeper aspect being sound. The human body is a vehicle for the spirit, and all objects and forms in the universe respond to the spirit through vibration. Creation is a harmonious expression of substance and senses. Music is found in color, lines, and nature, and can be observed in human interactions. There are multiple worlds within oneself that are often overlooked. Deep thinkers believe in emptying oneself to fully experience and accommodate life. The harmony in life is seen in the music of the spheres. Eastern music originated from intuition and is considered the first language. Ancient music is preserved through religion and has fine distinctions of tones. The art and science of music developed in ancient times. Ancient people attributed melodies to certain times based on the logical reason that vibration is at the root of creation. Astrological science arose from this understanding and influenced the basis of their music. The music of ancient people allowed for individual expression and had advantages and disadvantages. The word music in Sanskrit has three aspects: language, playing, and movement. The ancient people realized that certain tones and rhythms brought about greater emotion and equilibrium, leading to the development of mantra yoga. This yoga is focused on the sacred union between outer life and deeper life, regulating rhythm through music and vibration. Rhythm has a profound effect on human health and moods, and certain types of sound and rhythm have a soothing and healing effects. Music has the potential to be a source of healing and upliftment. Some Sufis developed this art to bring about poise in life after everyday cycles. Summa, a spiritual practice which involves listening to music, is a sacred treasure for the Sufis. Through music, they are able to connect with the deepest part of their being and experience various states of ecstasy. The practice of Indian music is based on intuition and is aimed at stimulating intuition and appreciating beauty. Music has the power to unite people and bring them closer to God. It is believed that music can reach the formless realm and touch the innermost being of man. The Sufis and yogis use music to tune themselves and attain calm and peace. Indian music has evolved over 4 periods and has its roots in mathematics, astrology, and psychology. The science of Hindu music is called Parastara, and it involves the mathematical arrangement of rhythm and modes. In Indian music, ragas are used, which are modes of varying numbers of notes. The origin of modes with 4 or 5 notes is believed to be from the natural instinct of man in creating instruments. Hindu music also corresponds with astrology, as each note corresponds to a certain planet. The science of elements is also incorporated into the arrangement of ragas, with certain modes to be sung at specific times of day or night. Hindu music goes beyond entertainment and serves to satisfy the deepest demands of the soul. It helps to unite souls and is a form of individual expression. Traditional ancient songs are passed down through generations and are taught through imitation. The mystical aspect of music is seen as means to reach spiritual perfection. The pursuit of spirituality should not be done solely through external forces, but should involve a deep respect and connection with the teacher. And the purpose of Indian music is to train the mind and soul. Music is a powerful tool for concentration and healing, created by the Lord of the Yogis, Shiva. The veena, an instrument invented by Shiva, is played by skilled musicians in India who devote hours to practicing different rhythms. The music produced has a psychological and mystical effect that can transport listeners to another world. However, the appreciation for this kind of music is diminishing in India and is being replaced by a more materialistic and industrialized interest. If this kind of music is introduced to the West, it could potentially replace destructive genres. Sound has the power to leave imprints on objects, and every syllable has a different effect and can charge objects with certain magnetism. This explains the use of sound by healers, teachers, and mystics to impart their healing power and thoughts onto the objects. Certain objects, such as water or food, can bring about desired results. It's like that Japanese experiment, right? Where if you thank the water, you love the water, the vibration of that water will be positive for you. But if you are evil to it, or if you speak bad things onto it, then it will generate that same result. Masters of occult sciences have used the power of sound to create beings and direct them towards a specific purpose. Sound also has a great influence on the human body, affecting muscles, blood circulation, and nerves. In India, certain drums played during a feast can induce ecstasy in some individuals, allowing them to perform seemingly impossible acts without harm. The science of sound can be used in various aspects of life, including healing, education, and spiritual evolution. Different types of musical instruments have distinct effects on the physical body. Breath is considered the life current, and the voice is seen as the most powerful form of sound. Jazz music has a unique effect on listeners, providing renewed strength and vigor. The voice reaches further and has a greater impact than any other physical movements or breath. Sound made by multiple people sitting with closed lips can create a more natural sound than an organ in religious settings. The power of sound, particularly through the voice, has a profound effect on individuals. The Brahmins study the pronunciation of every syllable and word in the Vedas for years to harness the energy and magnetism it can produce. Sound, when heard, affects all five senses of the body and can either invigorate or calm a person. Singers, through practice, experience the effects of sound on themselves, creating magnetism and electricity, which can be used to heal and influence others. However, incorrect use of sound can have negative effects, as seen when music was introduced into hospitals without understanding its proper application. Natural pitch and voice are important to retain in order to produce the most effective sound. The voice is not only audible, but also visible, making impressions on the ethereal sphere. Proper breath practice and the vocal development can unlock the latent power within every individual's voice. The Hindus believe that singing is the first art, playing is the second art, and dancing is the third art that make up music. Singing is considered the shortest way to attain spiritual heights. Voice has different qualities and can have a powerful effect on people. The character of a person can be reflected in their voice. The voice is also an expression of the spirit and can show its condition. Inspiration chooses its own voice, and artificial voice techniques are not true to one's spirit. Singers should retain their natural voice while developing its volume and reach. Each person has a unique voice that should not be sacrificed. This book discusses the importance of one's voice as a barometer of their spirit and progress on the spiritual path. It also highlights the connection between sound, color, and the soul. The book emphasizes that color and sound are the language of the soul, but their true meaning is often hidden behind their outward manifestations. Additionally, Hazrat mentions that one's preference for certain colors and sounds depends on their temperament and evolution. And Hazrat also explores the mystical significance of sound and color in relation to the human experience. Throughout history, sound has been regarded as important, and scientists today still agree. Sound is the effect of movement, which is always present, and its existence does not depend on capacity. Color is also movement, and its concrete form is visible based on individual capacity. The five elements, earth, water, fire, air, and ether, are represented by sound, and the scale of 5 notes is considered more appealing than the scale of 7 notes. Sound and color are interconnected aspects of life, and they can be understood through the study of breath. Yogis and mystics are able to perceive past, present, and future events through focusing on the finer forces of life. The study of self is crucial in understanding the study of God. Science and mysticism both recognize the importance of sound and vibration, although science tends to view these concepts as new discoveries. Different people seek truth through different means, such as science, religion, philosophy, or mysticism, and they all find truth in their own way. The origin of all that is visible and audible is motion and vibration. Harmony is what unites sound and color. Different colors and sounds appeal to different people based on their emotional condition and level of spiritual evolution. Colors and sounds also have an effect on animals and can influence their behavior. Behind the 5 external senses, there is one hidden sense that perceives life in different forms. Color and sound can be understood in both external and inner life. Color has significance in medicine and chemistry, as it can indicate the condition and change of objects, as well as diseases in the human body. Sound can reveal a person's psychological state. One's character, inclinations, and attitude towards life can be understood through their voice, as color and sound are languages that communicate with the both external and inner life. The vibrations and atmosphere created by a person's voice can invoke either harmony or discord. It is not only what one says or does, but their being and vibrations that speak louder. Man is limited by only recognizing their physical body, but they have a more subtle aspect that is audible and visible to the soul. One can get closer to this aspect through vibrations, using sound as a medium of communication with the inner and outer world. This communication allows for a communion with all living beings and a realization of love. The psychological influence of music is derived from the source where sound comes from, and the voice is a means for expressing one's psychological development. Breath is the essence of life, and the sound of the voice is the breath manifested outwardly, making it a powerful tool for expressing the mind and feelings. The influence lies not in the words themselves, but in the psychological power behind them. Music has a psychological power known as prana, which can influence and captivate listeners. Skilled musicians who infuse their music with life and prana are more successful. In India, veena players can captivate an audience with just a few notes, creating a spiritual phenomenon. Truly musical souls forget themselves in their music, just as great poets lose themselves in poetry. Listening to music spiritually involves tuning oneself to the music and using its vibrations for upliftment. The power of music depends on the individual's spiritual evolution. The story of Tansen illustrates the difference between singing for an earthly audience and singing for God. The progress of humanity today, focused on mechanical progress, hinders the development of the psychological aspect of music and art. The uniformity and restriction in the arts prevent true individualism from flourishing. Education should teach the psychological value of music to children. The presentation of music and the surroundings in which it is performed affects its impact. Nature plays a role in completing the music and creating a spiritual experience. Commercialization of music diminishes its beauty and value. The aristocracy in India once kept music from being commercialized, prioritizing harmony, beauty, and the intuition of musicians. The key to magnetism in music and personality is the presence of life. Psychological results in music depend on the health of the body, thoughts, imagination, and the heart. Life expressed through various forms of art, such as music, is what the world seeks and yearns for. Music can heal and bring about soothing effects, depending on the musician and the composer. Health is a condition of perfect rhythm and tone, and music can help bring harmony and rhythm to restore one's health. Breath and vibration play a vital role in healing, and the healers in the East use their breath to magnetize water or food for healing purposes. Music can regulate and tune a person's rhythm and raise their soul above everyday despair. Music was once used extensively for healing in India, as it brings health to the soul. Outward treatment alone does not suffice, as the root cause of all illness is often within oneself. This book discusses the influence of materialism on the use of music for spiritual attainment and healing, and Hazrat highlights the importance of studying the needs and symbols of the patient in order to effectively use music for healing. He also emphasizes the power of love and sympathy in healing and the role of God in attaining spiritual development. Virtues, religion, and music are all harmonious and necessary aspects of life. Music is a reflection of the harmony in the universe and can bring individuals into harmony with life. Appreciation of music leads to the appreciation of all forms of beauty. To fully appreciate music and the beauty around us, one must let go of preconceived notions and be open to learning. Music helps individuals concentrate and meditate, lifting their thoughts above the material world. The power of the word, as mentioned in religious scriptures, is also recognized in mysticism and is centered around the idea of sound or utterance. Changes in time and conditions have preserved sacred words, particularly in Sanskrit used in yoga due to the power of sound and vibration. The human body is considered a temple of God by the Sufis, and there are intuitive centers within the body that can be awakened through the breath and spiritual development. The breath and the repetition of certain words hold importance in spiritual practices, as they have the power to attract blessings and bring healing. The power of words lies in their meanings, vibration, and influence, or various centers, and on various centers, like the latifs. And some words given by saints and prophets hold all the blessings and secrets in life. Spiritual attainment should be kept humble and not used to prove superiority. Words have the power to vibrate through different parts of the body, and there is a science of syllables that has particular effects. Wagner's statements that knowing the law of vibrations reveals the secret of life aligns with the teachings of the mystics, and the value and realization of words are found within oneself. The realization of creation is found within oneself, yet many people seek it externally. Just as a man searching for the moon on the ground will never find it, those who search for the mystery of life outside themselves will also never find it. The breath and pulsation of life are essential, and ancient civilizations understood this more than modern society. The power of words is significant, as they can affect one's body and mind. The depth and sincerity of a word determines its power, and words spoken from the soul have a divine inspiration. The words of illuminated souls of the past have been preserved and used for meditation. The word itself holds a dynamic power that mystics and seekers have pursued throughout history. Wisdom is the interpretation of life from an enlightened perspective. The power of the word is a concept that has been explored in various cultures and religions. Repetition of certain words or phrases has been found to have been healing and transformative properties. This idea has been practiced by Buddhists, Hindus, Jews, Muslims, and other religious groups through the use of mantras, prayers, and sacred chants. The psychological aspect of the power of the word is also important, as the intention and conviction behind the words impact their effectiveness. Preparation and psychological development, such as concentration, meditation, and contemplation, can enhance the power of the word spoken. Ancient languages and words have a greater psychological significance and power compared to modern languages. Every vowel and word composition holds chemical and psychological significance. Yogis and Sufis use specific words or phrases in their practices to achieve illumination or an elevated state. However, it is important for individuals to seek guidance from an experienced practitioner in order to properly utilize the repetition of psychological words or phrases for desirable results. In Sufism, the repetition of certain sacred words has psychological significance and can produce a certain effect. Science is also exploring the phenomena of vibrations and their impact on the body. The Sufi movement offers a way for Westerners to study and practice Sufism to gain insights from ancient mystics. The power of words, especially mystical ones, can have a profound impact on one's consciousness and spiritual journey. Different languages may have their own versions of mystical words. And an example can be like if a Sufi sheikh gives you a zikr, prescribes you a zikr, and that zikr will give you the result that you're looking for in terms of manifesting something, desiring a certain feeling or outlook on life, then that helps as well in terms of looking and honoring that word. Words have a vital expression of life and can affect not only others, but also oneself. Spiritual people may intuitively bring forth powerful words that are in tune with the universe. The study of human anatomy reveals specific vibrations produced by vowels and consonants that can affect the mind and body. Words also have a connection to astrology and can invoke certain planetary influences. The knowledge of the power of words has been lost to most of mankind, leading to a deafness of the soul. Materialism and a focus on the objective world have led to a loss of connection with the mysteries of life. Communication with the inner and celestial realms is done through the word. Prophets and individuals have experienced communication with the inner and outer world through solitude and deep connection with nature. This experience is not limited to certain people or times, as there are moments in everyday life where everything contributes to either sadness or joy. The word is of great importance in mysticism as it reaches the heart and is the key to the mystery of life. The word is not just spoken, but is also expressed through thoughts, feelings, and actions. The value of time and the need for meditation are emphasized by Hazrat in spiritual pursuits. There is a sacred word that can make the soul sacred through repetition. Language originated from a central language of the human race which was more natural and expressive. Primitive figures and forms have evolved over time. Hazrat explores the origin of human language, emphasizing the power of sound and voice. The ancient science of yoga is also mentioned by Hazrat, which focuses on cultivating intuitive faculties through specific sounds and breath control. The book also mentions the importance of ethical development before accessing power and emphasizing the significance of initiation for true seekers. The sacred word is discussed by Hazrat as a key to creation and communication across dimensions. The existence of one universal life is emphasized by Hazrat, and the importance of discerning truth from falsehood is also explored. The concept of the word that was lost is introduced by Hazrat in this teaching as a symbol in mysticism, representing a mystery that is rarely shared once understood. It's like many initiatic schools and esoteric groups and fraternities, and I myself have been a part of that, where everyone's looking for the lost word. So it all comes down to that. When someone explores the other side of a wall, they may lose the ability to communicate as the experience changes their perspective. Differences in faith and opinion are due to knowledge of different facts, but true realization of truth transcends these differences. Perception and expression are interconnected, as are science and mysticism. The purpose of creation is to find the word that was lost, and the search is the underlying objective of all aspects of creation. The soul longs to hear this word, and there is gradual process from the mineral to the human kingdom, as well as from human evolution to human perfection. The captivity of the soul and the loss of the word cause pain and tragedy in life. Souls search for the word in different ways, but all paths lead to the same purpose. Ultimate satisfaction is found in touching the perfection that exists beyond words. This perfection is the opening of the soul's eyes and the rediscovery of the lost word, which is described as the joy of finding a beloved. Wisdom is a form of interpreting life and is referred to as Sophia and Sufi. It is a point of view rather than a teaching. The Sufi movement allows individuals to study and connect with others who have a similar viewpoint. The mystic and materialist have similar beliefs about the source of creation, but differ in their ideals. The mystic sees consciousness and intelligence as divine essence, while the materialist sees it as a natural development. The mystic believes that all beings are searching for something, with mind existing in all things. The condition of a person's mind can affect the plants and beings around them. Human beings have a tendency to yearn and search for something that has been lost. Man has lost the perfection of intelligence, which can be realized in a state of consciousness. The Sufi message aims to bring back the realization of this perfection. The word that was lost can be heard when it rises from one's own heart. Ancient stories speak of men communicating with nature. The understanding of the mystical idea holds the treasure of this universe. Materialism is caused by a lack of knowledge in religion, specifically the loss of the spirit in religion. Understanding and respecting each other's faith and ideals can help combat materialism. Various forms of communication, such as astrology, physics, arts, sciences, can also convey meaning and be considered as words. Life itself is constantly communicating, and everything that exists is a word. The ultimate truth is simple and lies in the understanding that everything in life is a word, conveyed through various senses. Life is experienced through the 5 external senses, but there is another aspect called intuition, which is independent of the senses. Inspiration can come to anyone, including scientists and artists, and it is the source of creative art, that intuition. Inspiration comes from within and is expressed through various forms. There is a form of inspiration that brings greater enlightenment and reveals the past, future, and living beings, objects, and oneself. This form of inspiration is called revelation and helps one understand the purpose of life. Communication through the senses is essential for human life and is the longing of the soul. The voice of thought is constantly present in all aspects of manifestation. Everything that is created has a life and a voice, whether intentional or unintentional. Different places holds the vibrations and history of those who have been there before. Every town and house has its own voice, conveying the lives and actions of the people who lived there. A stone in Mecca holds the voice of Abraham, attracting millions of people on pilgrimage. Thoughts and feelings are recorded in every seat or place where one sits or lives. A dominating voice can be heard amidst the confusion of voices in a place where many people have lived. The intensity and sacredness of a thought determine its duration and power. Examples of places with strong voices include all these things, such as the tomb of Khwaja Muhyiddin Chishti, sacred sites, and other places where you could just feel that presence. That's what Hazrat is teaching here. Remote and uninhabited places possess a soothing atmosphere without distracting voices. Tombs mark the places where vibrations and thoughts were recorded, rather than holding the voice of the person buried there. The idea of a blessing in holy places comes from the belief that these places are living beings. Prophets have made holy places still living and attractive to the world. Hindus believe in sacred rivers because they symbolize unity in the flow of thoughts from enlightened beings. The thoughts of the great Mahatmas flow with the water of the Ganges and bless those who hear it. Objects and places have their own vibrations and can affect people positively or negatively. Humans have the power to change the influence of an object or place. In ancient times, there were engravings on mountains and stones that could be read intuitively. Trees, animals, and even objects like food can hold vibrations and memories of the past experiences. Association with certain people can have a strong influence on us, and it is important to be positive and self-disciplined in order to overcome negative vibrations. And the magnetism of beings and objects can be felt and influenced by the thoughts and emotions of the person preparing them. In today's modern world and society, there is a lack of consideration for the psychological aspects of life. In the past, people would handcraft items for loved ones, but now everything is easily bought from a shop without knowing who made it or how it was made. This raises questions about the intentions and effort put into the objects we use. The thoughts and emotions attached to the things we create or give to others have a profound impact on the object itself, whether it is a piece of clothing, a ship, or a house. The thoughts and intentions of the creator influence the outcome. In every little thing we make or give, it is not just the object but the underlying thoughts and intentions that have greater value. Even a small action like writing a letter can convey more than words can express. Great souls throughout history have left a lasting impact through their thoughts and intentions. The life and influence put into things depend on the intensity of the feeling and the medium through which vibrations are created. Works of art carry a hidden message based on the artist's thought and intentions. If the artist is not aligned with the purpose of the artwork, it may not have the desired effect. For example, a temple that lacked harmony in its construction eventually met its demise. And in summary, the thoughts and intentions we put into the things we create or give have a profound impact and can create a greater effect than we realize. Art, poetry, and music have the power to create thoughts and feelings that can be constructive or destructive. Artists must be careful of the impact their work may have, as it can affect both the subject and the creator. It is important to understand the psychology behind art in order to fulfill its purpose. Tragedy can have a serious effect on individuals, but excessive tragedy may be harmful. In order to understand the inner meaning of music, one must live in the world of music and develop intuition. Life is continuous, and every thought, feeling, word, and action has a lasting impact. Life is about change and the conscious awareness of that change. Nothing truly disappears, it just transforms. Birth and death are simply different aspects of the universe's automatic workings. Our thoughts and actions have lasting effects and create entities called muwakkals, which have a purpose to fulfill. Man's responsibility is greater than any other being's, as our thoughts and feelings can influence nature. Maturity is marked by a sense of responsibility, and the kingdom of God is realized when one becomes aware of this responsibility and the creative power within. Even those who appear to do nothing outwardly can have a significant impact inwardly, and that's the way it is sometimes. Now, if you look at the story of the Madzub, a Madzub plays with a cannon and achieves success in battles, showing the power of his gestures. Another Madzub helps a man win his court case by writing on the ground, and the judge speaks the same words. Thoughts and imagination exist in the mind, with clear minds able to give distinct forms to thoughts. Minds attract and reflect thoughts of their own kind, and like attracts like in everyday life. The form of thought is made by the impressions of the mind. The mind is a storehouse of all forms that a person has ever seen, including thoughts and feelings. A blind person can only have a vague idea of a thought projected onto them, as they cannot fully form the idea themselves. Thoughts have different colors that correspond to the element they belong to, such as earth, water, fire, air, or ether. The form and expression of a person can reflect their thoughts, and a seer can read this through the vibrations and direction of thought. Imagination is uncontrolled thought, and it is good to have a strong imagination only if one is strong themselves. Undesirable thoughts must be destroyed by the person who created them. The brain acts as a recording mechanism for memory, which records everything experienced through the senses. Memory is not like a dead notebook, but a living machine that holds living sensations. The secret of heaven and hell lies in memory, as it is where fulfilled desires and sufferings reside. Memory is a vast and powerful aspect of the mind. Memory is a person's own being and is not lost, but disorder in the brain can make it difficult to access. A good memory is a sign of spirituality, and knowledge stored in it is more valuable than relying on books. Memory can be improved by creating a tranquil and balanced mindset. The mind is independent of the body for retaining memories and can function after death. Erasing living memories requires concentration and meditation. Willpower is the greatest power and is responsible for all actions and abilities. Birds and fish rely on their willpower, not their physical abilities, for their actions. Now, Hazrat emphasizes that willpower is not a human power, but a divine power in man. It is the phenomena of will that brings success and failure, and it is the strength of will that allows one to hold a thought in their mind. Willpower is said to be made of love, and is the expression of God's will. This book teaches and suggests that the development of willpower begins with the discipline of the body, followed by discipline of the mind through concentration. Through self-discipline and development of willpower, one can become the master of themselves. This book also addresses the difference between concentration and silence, and concentration and meditation, focusing on those things to better yourself, as the development of willpower is seen as necessary for real comfort and happiness. This book explores the concepts of will, consciousness, death, and reason. Hazrat suggests that will and consciousness are fundamentally the same expression of God's being, and that death is caused by a feeble personal will being influenced by a greater will. He also states that world redeemers are made by putting the human will in harmony with the divine will. And Hazrat further discusses reason, distinguishing between earthly reason, reason behind reason, and heavenly reason. He emphasizes the importance of having a responsive attitude rather than an exacting attitude in order to attain heavenly reason. A disciple seeks to understand why the master experienced joy while exploring the city, while the disciple felt torn apart. The master explains that it is not just the physical act of walking, but the rhythm and mindset with which one walks that makes a difference. Reasoning is also explored with the same mindset, with different individuals having different rhythms in their minds, leading to different perspectives and outlooks on life. The middle part of reason is identified as the sense of discrimination. And Hazrat shares a story about Moses and his master, illustrating the importance of trusting divine reason rather than judging based on earthly reason. And this kind of reflects on the interaction with Moses and Al-Khidr. And Hazrat continues to teach the concept of self and its relation to the body. And he explains that the soul identifies itself with the body, mind, and feelings, but ultimately realize that it is separate from these things. And you have to go through self-analysis and annihilate your false ego, allowing the true ego to realize its merit. And the Sheikh, Hazrat, also stresses the importance of a mirror or a murshid, right? Your murshid or a sheikh that you're initiated with in this process of self-realization. The ego is not completely destroyed by annihilation, but rather the false conception of the ego is what is destroyed. The ego is the sign of eternal life and contains the knowledge of immortality. The annihilation referred to is actually a passing through or going beyond the false conception of the ego to arrive at the true realization. The heart and mind are interconnected, with the mind being the surface and the heart being its depth. The heart is the essence of oneself and holds the true feelings and emotions, while the thoughts and imaginations belong to the surface. The heart is also one of the bodies of the soul and is closely connected to the angelic body. Now, the Catholics have a special devotion to the Sacred Heart of Jesus, which is seen as the shrine of God. The heart is considered a temporary hotel for the soul, and the world of feelings is seen as higher than the world of thoughts. Indifference is not seen as a lack of love or sympathy, but rather a necessary protection for sensitive souls. Detachment is not the right word to describe this, as life is one and cannot be detached. Intuition is a feminine faculty that can come from outer impressions or be independent of them. Intuition is also expressed in the language of feeling and can be perceived through concentration. Dreams also contain intuition, but can be confused due to the presence of imagination. A mirror can show the opposite of reality in dreams, which are a reflection of the mind's focus. Symbolic dreams are a reflection of the subtle mind, and intuition develops insight into symbolism. Now, dreams reflect the conditions after death. Dreams of suffocation, drowning, and inability to walk or speak are psychological disorders of the mind. Dreams of flying signify a desire to rise above limitations. Singing in sleep is the dance of the soul. People who rarely dream are either advanced or content without thinking. Inspiration is a higher form of intuition, received through focusing the mind on the divine mind. It brings joy and upliftment. and the artist feels like a vessel for creation. Inspiration can come from spirits or from the divine mind, and all credit belongs to God. When someone builds a wall between themselves and God, they limit their connection and receive inspiration indirectly. The best way to receive inspiration is to be humble, like a child, and be open to learning. Eventually, one can become an instrument of God and communicate with Him in all forms. The story of Moses, for example, he climbed a mountain and experienced a revelation from God. Inspiration can come from living beings, whether they are present in thoughts or through a tranquil heart. The source of inspiration is always the divine spirit, but it can be transmitted through various channels. And Hazrat Inayat-Khan always teaches us the importance of having a spiritual practice and maintaining that practice. As we come to the conclusion, it can only be summed up in two factors, which is understanding the true self, which is a journey towards self-discovery and inner realization, and one that involves delving deep into one's essence beyond external influences and societal expectations. And the second, spiritual realization, where that is the awakening to a higher consciousness and connection with the divine. It transcends the material world, leading to a profound understanding of one's purpose and existence. Thank you all for watching. I hope you benefited from this. I dedicate this to all of my Sufi friends and all other seekers of light. I hope it benefits you. If any questions or comments, please email me at salmansheikh911@gmail.com. All images used were retrieved from public domain searches and are the rightful property of their respective owners. The images used in this video presentation are for the purpose of nonprofit awareness and education, which is protected by the copyright laws of fair use, education purpose. All my videos are for nonprofit and education purposes. Thank you. All rights reserved.